Here we are with Norm and Mary Jo Bowers and their beautiful collection of banks. You know, Norman, you have the distinction of being the guy that sold me my first bank. You were advertising in the Antique Trader, and I saw an ad for an Oriental Camel, and I called up, and you said, yeah, I have that bank. And you sent it to me, and that started me 1976 or 77. I thank you. Look what you did.
My pleasure.
Very good. Well, you guys have really built a beautiful collection here. You want to tell us about one of your favorite banks? Norman, what do you like?
That's a hard question to answer. There are so many of them I like so much. I guess the cat.
The schoolmaster?
Yeah.
Well, you were a school teacher, weren't you? Or a
School administrator.
Right?
Yeah.
So the school, we call that the school teacher cat. That's a beautiful bank.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites. I really love this tiger here on a rock. I've never seen that before.
No, me either.
And it's the only one that I think is known to exist.
That's beautiful.
What'd you like, Mary Jo?
Well, we were traveling in Europe and we saw it in a window. The store was closed. And of course we didn't speak very good German. We had to go back and find somebody to translate for us what we wanted. And they sent it to us while we were in Germany.
Oh, that's great. The
I
$100,000
love that.
money bag.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
So tell me the story of how your collection began.
Well, this is the first bank. It was just before Christmas in 1969. Mary Jo and gone out shopping for some Christmas presents for her two brothers and her dad. And came home with 3 little building banks. And I had never seen banks before. And I was just really taken by them. And I said, you know, I really like this. Could you give them to me instead? And she reluctantly agreed. And that was the beginning.
It's all history from there.
Yep.
So, being that your first bank was a cast iron bank, what drew you both to the Spelter lead banks?
I think just the difference in the creativity and the beautiful details and the locks that Mary Jo.
Yeah, I love the lock.
It was just different than the cast iron. And I collected a lot of cast iron over the years. And I like cast iron. But I really got enamored with the Spelter and the lead, as you see behind you. Yeah.
And where did you purchase most of them from?
I think antique shows, auctions.
Well, when we first started, it was shops. There weren't even too many shows. It was mostly, and I got those in a shop. I was looking for something else for our house.
Was it a shop in Chicago that
No,
you would
we were
search?
in Champaign,
Okay.
and when we did this, and we went then to some flea market or some, we met somebody in Champaign who was collecting banks, and they would take the banks that had been, you know, like this, and then they would repaint them. They were ugly as sin. But that's how we really started. We had these, and we did eventually buy their whole collection, I think. But Norm very patiently took off all that paint.
Wow.
And he would do it with his grandson to give it, you know, but Norm took the paint off.
Wow, well, what a collection you've been able to build throughout the years, and it's just wonderful.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're here.
Yes, thank you.
So am I.
You're like one of my first mentors. You really got me into the world of still banks that led into mechanical banks and eventually led me to becoming a dealer. So I'm really thrilled and honored that you chose us to sell your collection. But you have so many wonderful banks. This is one of my very favorites. It's a bust of an Indian head with 2 tomahawks. Extremely rare. I think it's the only one that I know of.
Me too.
Just a wonderful example. It should do very well at auction. Just the detailing you can see on the face there. It's just really beautiful detailing. But I think that's what characterizes these Spelter banks, as you were saying. That's sort of, you know, what people really like about them is the real detailing. Another interesting bank that I love is this little Dotson.
That is nice, yeah.
Isn't that nice? That is beautiful. Little Dotson with a little cigar there. Really, really pretty. So I hope everyone can join us for their sale. It's really going to be a groundbreaking sale. There hasn't been this quantity and quality of Spelter banks to hit the market in a very, very long time. So I hope to see you at the sale.
Okay, so there's one bank that really caught my eye when I walked into this room, and it was this hippo right here, which is very rare Spelter bank. As you can see, you know, the detailing on this is just beautiful as well, and it's a great, great example of this. Can you tell me a little about it?
Well, I can tell you where I got it. It's from Andy Moore's collection. Yeah.
Maybe 93?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because he died in '83, and I think it took a while for the collection to be sold. Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds about right.
So I'm here in the middle of his and Mary Jo's Schoenhut room, and you were the first president of the Schoenhut Club, correct?
That's correct.
So how did that begin?
I think it was due to Blossom and Bruce Abel and Bob Zimmerman. The Zimmermans lived in New York, and the Abels lived close to Chicago, in Algonquin, about 35 miles away. And I think that they were the ones that pulled together the collectors that they knew to see if there would be an interest in the club. And there was. And so we started up. I think our first one was in Reading, Pennsylvania, I believe.
How many members are a part of the club today?
I think about 250.
Oh, wow, okay. And the next convention is in...
Kansas, a small town in Kansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite piece in this room?
Well,
I don't know if you know this, but I'm a very big fan of animals, so I'm loving this collection. And of course, I love the Spelter too.
I think the gorilla,
The gorilla.
yeah. He's very unusual, very rare, very nice piece.
Yeah, that's a great piece.
In a cage, you know.
And I love the Humpty Dumpty circus tent as well.
Yeah, they made different types of tents, different sizes, and smaller ones. And then they had a big oval tent. And then they had big side that showed carnival, circus scenes, and so on.
Well, it's really great. I love it. I love how you have it displayed too.
Now, Schoenhut was a remarkable company. You want to know a little history of Schoenhut?
Sure.
He immigrated to the United States, I believe, in 1866, and he worked in a toy factory there, and took a job in a toy factory here, and then shortly after, maybe 10 or 15 years, started his own company in the late 1800s, and became a very, very wealthy person. Started out mainly with the Circus, but he also made dolls and all sorts of different toys, all out of wood, all out of wood.
A lot of wood.
No metal whatsoever. And then he made when Teddy Roosevelt made that famous trip, he made a safari set. And some of those pieces are very rare and very expensive, and they're all included here.
So what year were most of these manufactured?
Early 1900s,
Okay.
say 19 to 1910.
It's amazing the condition that
And
they're
then
in.
Schoenhut died I believe he died in 23. And his family took over. And then because of the Depression in the early 1930s, they went out of business.
Wow. Very interesting.
We have some family members who are members of the club. And one is the great-great-grandson, Bill Schoenhut,
Oh, wow.
Lives
That's really cool.
lives in Pennsylvania. And they have lots of kids, and they have lots of kids. So whenever there's a convention, there's maybe 12 or 15
Uh-huh.
people from the Schoenhut family show up.
Well, that's great. Well, what a wonderful club that you were able to start, and it's great to hear that the family is still involved in it today. I mean, what an accomplishment for you have been the first president, so that's
Pleasure,
awesome.
a real pleasure. Albert Schoenhut was a very creative toy manufacturer, and one of the things that he did, which really increased the income to the factory, was all these animals he made in a reduced size. He made them in a regular size, and then he made them in a reduced size so that the little kids, with their small hands, could play with the animals. And so parents would buy these things for their little children.
From the Sears catalog,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. So he knew what he was doing.
How often would they produce the Sears catalog?
Every couple, 3 or 4 months for a while. And then, as life changed, it was just every 6 months maybe. And then all of a sudden, disappeared.
Yeah, right.
My grandparents and uncles and aunts used the Sears catalog in their autos.
That's where all the
No,
serious
seriously,
shopping
they
is done.
did. I think she's a she, obviously, because she's very assertive. And has gorgeous painting on her feathers and her little red feet and her little red thing.
RSL Auctions is thrilled to present the Norm and Mary Jo Bowers German Spelter and Silver Lead Bank collection.
It's very exciting. They both collected for the last 30 years and accumulated 275 of the best examples of these banks known. It's really going to be something to hit the market.
Yes, so stay tuned for more information.
On them, for example.
Excuse me. There's the bank right over there.
It had to be here. Well, we just screwed up that one.